Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Movie Blog. This is your audio edition for Monday, February 6th, 2006. And this is the best damn movie-related podcast on the internet. As always, I am your host. I am the founder and the editor of the Movie Blog. My name is John Campia. And joining me as always on this Monday Roundtable edition, both of them are sitting to my right today. Starting on my far right, Canadian comedian, regular co-host of the audio edition, Mr. Douglas Nagy.
International friends, I salute you. I come down from Brokeback Mountain, confused and oddly full.
And sitting to his right and to my immediate left is a regular roundtable participant, Mr. Darren Connolly.
It's nice to be here, everybody. And I stay upon the mountain, for I was the one who fed Doug. But I shall feed him no more.
For those of you joining us on Monday night, if you're listening to this on Monday night, then you're getting only the audio feed. We're actually doing something a little bit different. We're trying something new here, a little bit crazy. We are actually videotaping this installment of the audio edition. And so if you're listening to this on Monday night, come back tomorrow, because on Tuesday we're going to put up the video feeds. It's going to be in regular, so you can watch it on your computer. But I'm also going to put it up in iPod format, so if people want to download it and watch it on their iPods. Because, you know, I get lots of email of people asking, how can I get some of that Darren Conley on my iPod?
Oh, yes.
There are many ways, but this is the easiest.
And the cheapest. That's right. The other ways cost you $19.95 a month.
I just bring my nano to his house every Tuesday and get him to spit on it. But call me old-fashioned.
Hey, yeah. Let's dive into it. Starting with topic number one. This is actually something that I noticed today. I did a little bit of shopping today, and I stopped in at my local Blockbuster Video, because they always have such wonderful collections of used DVDs, like secondhand, not secondhand, but previously viewed.
That's where I got Whore-Ass 8 to the Hunter.
No wonder they were all out.
Yeah. Well, the series is almost done. Once I get 246, that's it.
There's only so much horror-ass that you can do.
And George Lucas will make the prequels.
In a land before Whore-Ass existed.
So anyway,
yeah, what were we talking about?
Blockbuster Video. So I go into Blockbuster Video, and they always have this big poster at the front showing you what's coming out that month. You know, on January 7th, this comes out and whatever. And I was really surprised. I can't remember all of them, but there are a couple of movies that are coming out this month that were like just in theaters. Like, for instance, Walk the Line.
Yeah,
is out on DVD this month.
Well, in my video store, the only thing that was on the placard when it said coming out this month was a picture of Tom Cruise.
You've been waiting for a while to say that one.
Yeah, that's the one I had in the bank.
Oh, man.
But then I looked over the rest of the list, and then I looked over some of March's list and some of January's, the month that just passed. And it just strikes me. I remember when I was a kid, you know, when you still rented movies on VHS, that you had to wait 8 months to a year for a movie to come out on video. Yeah. And even like a year or 2 years ago, you had to wait a good 6 months. But, man, I just saw it. Walk the Line is still in a local theater around here, and not one of these second-run theaters. Like, it's still in a first-run theater here. Mm-hmm. It seems like the DVDs are coming out faster and faster and faster. Now, on one hand, I think to myself, well, that's great news, because now I don't have to wait as long.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it means there's going to be less extra stuff put in the DVD. I know we've had this discussion before about special features on DVDs, and I really think if we're going to be plopping down $18 to $20 for DVD, you should put lots of special features in it. But the other thing is, isn't this ultimately going to hurt box office receipts for movies? Because some people, you can say, well, I'm going to wait for it to come out on video. But if it's a good movie, I don't want to wait 8 months for it.
Yeah.
But now,
you only have to wait a month.
like maybe in like 3 months, this thing is going to be out on DVD. Like, is this a good idea, a bad idea?
But how long do movies stay in the box office for anymore these days? Like, it's usually, I think most movies are in the theater for a month, month and a half, maybe 2 months, and then they're gone anyway, right? Like, when we were kids, the movies could stay in a theater for 6 months or longer because, A, there wasn't as many movies coming out, I think we talked about that
Yep.
on another audio edition. And B, everybody didn't own a DVD player or a video, like a VHS. What do we call those things anymore? A VCR. We didn't own a VCR.
Right.
My family didn't have a VCR till I was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
So you had movies in the theater longer, and you couldn't get a hold of them for a long time anyway. So I can't remember where I started my point, but it's a different world we live in, John. And I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. There was a movie that I heard about on maybe it was on Ebert and Roper. They said they were releasing it like in the theater and on DVD at the same time.
Bubble. The
Right.
Soderbergh movie that we actually posted about on the movie blog. Yeah, I'm curious to see. I haven't seen any results from that, but they were releasing it, I think, on like pay-per-view, in the theater, and on DVD all in the same day. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen any numbers, but I'm curious to see how that all worked out.
I'm actually pretty excited that they're releasing DVDs as soon as possible now, because as we've said before, there are a lot of movies like Brokeback Mountain that I'm not able to see, and other people aren't able to see. So maybe for the blockbusters, it makes less sense, but for smaller movies, it's great because you hear about the movie buzz, then a month later, you can buy it on DVD.
That's true. There's movies I want to see that, for instance, like my girlfriend or other friends of mine might not want to see. Sorry, my fiance. I have to say fiance now. So I don't get a chance to see them in the theater, but I'd really like to see the movie sometime. Good Night and Good Luck I'd like to see. I don't know any theater that's playing that anymore right now.
True.
I'd like to see the, not Munich, but the one with George Clooney. Syriana,
Right.
which is also not playing anywhere in this local city right now, and
It was.
so for a little while,
Short
yeah.
window.
Right.
Yeah. So the sooner those movies come out on DVD, the sooner they're going to get my money for having seen those movies, right?
Well,
so maybe it's easier to cash in instead of harder.
And less people are going to the theater now because more and more people are staying at home and watching it, and a lot of people prefer to watch it on their home theaters. They have bitchin' setups, they have killer sound systems, killer high-definition TVs, and they prefer to see it in their home. And I think you're making most of your advertising dollar when you can still use the buzz that you created for the movie in the theater to pump the DVD sales for people who want to buy it in their home.
Are we sitting at the advent of a whole new paradigm for that? Like, are the theatrical runs of films ultimately just now going to be about pumping and promoting the DVD, whereas it used to be the other way around?
You totally stole my point. I was just about to make.
I am like Thor. I stole your thunder.
I was just going to say, yeah. I think it's turning into now that theaters are just a large-scale promo for what you're going to buy on DVD later. Now, I say this as somebody who enjoys buying DVDs and watching movies over and over. I know a lot of other like mainstream movie watching folks who don't care to watch a movie more than once and who don't care to buy or collect DVDs in any way, shape, or form. So I think it's still an isolated portion of the market that is going to be moving into this new paradigm, if we're calling it
Won't that almost like be a self-defeating thing to do? Because if you start ignoring the theatrical releases of the films, if you start ignoring that, then ultimately, and you use it as your big push for DVDs, but that takes more and more interest away from the theatrical releases. Won't that then diminish its marketing capability for DVDs? I mean, isn't this a little bit of a self-defeating... I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying, isn't it kind of self-defeating logic?
Well, there still is a theatrical release. It's not like they're going to be canceling movies in theaters and just releasing things on DVD, right? But I don't know, like, as far as drawing hype away from the theatrical release, I don't know. I think those who are willing to plop down $14 to see it in the theater still will. There's some movies that are, the experience of a big screen with the huge sound and everything is still a better experience than watching it in your home theater, no matter how kick-ass your system might be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there is a percentage of the population that will always go to theaters, like teenagers. They are always going to go to the theaters for social reasons. And I would not call myself a DVD collector. I prefer going to the movies, but at the same time, my hatred for children is increasing as the days go on. Like, I hate going to a movie with kids. And that being said, I'm probably over time going to get movies on DVD more often. And I'm going to say this. If a few months pass, my interest in purchasing a DVD dwindles. Because when I see an advert on TV and it's available for DVD next month, I would say I'm 60 to 70% more likely to buy that DVD.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Like when you walk out of a movie theater of a film that you really, really, really liked, and you think, "Oh man, that was awesome!" Like Return of the King. Okay, Return of the King comes out. I walk out of it thinking, "Man, that was amazing." I'm ready to buy that DVD right there. I'm still ready to buy it next month. I'm still prepared to buy it in 2 months. But yeah, you raise a good point. As more and more time goes on, I might become less and less interested in buying it.
Because I think it's like 87% of all sales is based on emotion.
True.
And that's when you want to capitalize on it. Because once the emotion's gone, there's nothing there. It's like after you've been with somebody for a couple of years. Yeah, you got to start doing crazy shit in the bedroom. Otherwise, you're not going to have any sex anymore. It's just the way it is.
Or just find new ways to love each other as people.
or tell the jokes, asshole.
Oh man,
Okay.
I'm sorry to drag us into the ridiculous here.
let's move on to another topic. We spent enough time on this one. Here's an intro. Topic number 2. Put up this post last week. Brad Pitt has apparently told his people to get out there and find the greatest gay love story ever written. Because he wants to play a gay role.
That's my autobiography. And he can play me if he wants. That's fine.
And the idea is that, you know, it used to be, I mean, here was the point of the post. It used to be, if you wanted an Oscar attention, play somebody with a handicap. Whether it's a physical handicap, a mental handicap, a learning, something. But now it seems that as Brad Pitt is, you know, looking into his crystal ball, the future is straight guys playing gay guys.
You know, I said this when I was 10 to my brother. I said, there will be a day when queers overtake retards for box office gold. And this day has come, and I'm glad it's here. But also, I'm a man of the people, and I've heard on the street that gay people are actually excited to see Brad Pitt do a gay role as well. I know you never would have believed it, but it's true.
It's unfathomable.
I know.
But so here's the thing. He's saying that he wants... Because listen, okay, Brad Pitt is... In my opinion, he's a remarkable actor.
Right.
He really is top notch. He doesn't always appear in the best films, but whenever he, like Troy, big disappointment, but Pitt was solid in it. Bana stole the show, but he was solid. In just about everything he's solid. In some things, he's absolutely remarkable. So now here he is. He doesn't have his Oscar yet. And I think he's thinking, I've got all the money in the world. I have been with probably the most genetically pure, beautiful women in the world.
It's time to hump dudes. The only obstacle he has to conquer now is Brokeback Mountain.
So I'm thinking...
He's been in the valley. He knows he's got to climb the tower.
So now he's probably thinking he wants to establish a bit of his acting legacy.
Well, and plus he's getting older. He's in his 40s now,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken. So he's probably thinking to himself, if I'm going to cash in on an Oscar before I start getting the old guy roles, I got to start doing it now, right?
Well, it's not like the old guy roles don't nab. Like how old? Like older actors
no, that's
get their
fine.
Oscars.
There's nothing wrong with old guy roles at all. But
I think he's thinking he's done everything there is to do. He's been the sexiest man alive umpteen times. He's the heartthrob of everybody. He's got all the money in the world. He's been with Jennifer Aniston and now with Angelina Jolie, knocked her up. And now he's thinking I'm thinking that what's going through his head is that he just wants to establish his legacy. He now wants to be known as the guy as a great actor. And sadly, sometimes having that award is what does it. But is this a good idea or a bad idea for him?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's going to get a lot of attention. And not just the Oscar angle of it, but if any straight person is going to knock a gay role out of the park, it's Brad Pitt, because he's an amazing actor.
Yes.
He's going to sell the role. He's going to make love to a man like men should be made love to in the movie. And people are going to buy it hook, line, and sinker. Like, Brad Pitt is probably in my top 5 favorite actors. Like, other than Christian Bale, he may be my second favorite actor. And I think, we talked about this when we saw, what was the movie, The Ringer?
Yes.
If you're going to play a mentally handicapped person, you really have to sell it.
Yeah.
And if you're going to play
Which Johnny Knoxville did not.
No, and it's horrible. Do you know what I mean? And do you know what I mean, for all my friends? But when it comes to a gay role as well, you still have to sell it, and Brad Pitt's going to be able to do that better than anybody.
I personally think it's a bit of a sellout shortcut. If he's doing this to get an award and that's it.
We're assuming that he is.
Yeah.
At this point,
it seems like he's saying
like he works in Hollywood, Darren. There's a good chance he's already had sex with men.
Okay, fair enough. But if he's doing this just for an award, like, I don't know. I think he shouldn't just say, like, what's the modern day formula to cash in on an Oscar and go for it. I think he should just keep making quality movies, whatever the roles are that come to him, and hoping that somebody in the Academy actually takes notice.
Okay, now having said that, it's important to keep in mind that when you say whatever roles come to him,
quality roles, like you have to be picky and choosy.
But we should acknowledge right up front, no roles come to him. He's now of the status, he gets to pick and choose whatever roles he wants. And if now he's just saying, hey, the ones that seem to be getting a lot of attention, the one that presents a new challenge that maybe I've never performed before, and but look, all other things being equal, here's a couple of movies. Now remember, he's not just saying go out and get me any gay role. Like the quote that I read had him saying, no, find one that is like the greatest gay love story ever told, blah, blah, blah. All other things being equal, if you've got films that both present challenging characters with stories that you both believe in, but one has you thinking, gives you a better chance at taking home an Oscar, wouldn't we think any actor in Hollywood would then pick that one? Because it's not like Brad Pitt only gets 6 movies offered to him a year, and he's going to turn them all down unless one's a gay one. No, he's already the level of an actor where he gets to pick and choose whatever film he wants. And so if he finds a great script that's about a gay love story, and he thinks it's just as good as any others he's got, all other things being equal, but this one, I believe, gives me a better chance for an Oscar. You can't tell me that Tom Hanks wouldn't take it, that any of the great actors wouldn't take it, not just if it's a gay role, but at any period of time, all other things being equal, this project gives me the best chance for an Oscar. Any actor would take it. I don't think that makes Brad Pitt any different from anybody else.
Okay. I think we're making a huge generalization by saying that any actor would. I don't know.
All other things being equal, and one of the two has a better chance in your estimation of getting an Oscar. And you don't think the vast majority of...
I think there are some actors that don't necessarily care that much about the Oscars, but I don't know.
I believe whatever actors say that is lying. Is absolutely lying if they say they don't care about it.
All right,
it's like indie film directors saying, oh, I don't care about the glory of the money. Bull! MGM backs up a dump truck full of money to their doorstep. They're on it in a second.
If being a gay comedian would get me on Saturday Night Live, it's Monday now. I think I could probably suck 5 cocks by Tuesday.
Man. Are you sure I have to stay this close to him to be in the camera shot?
Yes, you do. And take off your pants. I gotta get started early.
Oh man. I think there's an Oscar coming my way.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on to item number. What are we on here? We're on item number 3 now. This one should make you guys happy. Apparently, I was reading on the web that we confirmed that the villain for the next Fantastic Four film is Doctor Doom. Apparently, that was premature. Doctor Doom is indeed in the new Fantastic Four, but apparently in a casting call that's gone out, they're looking for 2 types. Silver Surfer and Galactus.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, I think this is ridiculous.
Hey, you want to know what? The first movie did suck, and the second one could suck really, really bad as well. But Galactus and Silver Surfer is usually good news.
But how? How? I just have no... You're either going to completely rape the character of everything that he really is to make him feasible for the screen, or it's going to be a completely unbelievable movie. Like, you can't have a planet eater.
Galactus is slightly unbelievable because he is a planet eater. And that's why we love him, John.
Yeah. Not only a planet eater, but a planet eater from the universe that existed prior to our universe.
Yeah.
He survived the collapse and then the new Big Bang.
Yeah,
That's
what was
his
name?
actual backstory.
Gallon? He was actually the character's name was actually Gallon, and then
Maybe.
was the last survivor of his universe, and something like that.
But my concern is more about how they pull off the Silver Surfer without making it look ridiculous. Because
wait a second.
What?
Between the 2 options
Yeah.
of a planet-eating devourer,
Yeah.
and a human-sized guy who's silver,
Yeah.
your biggest visual effects concern is the average-sized human guy who's silver?
They can take some liberties with Galactus. They don't have to have the big helmet that looks like
I
a
disagree.
Cuisinart or something.
They have to have the Cuisinart helmet.
Okay, all right. Well, whether they have the helmet or not, they could make a planet-eating being. They could make it look cool. He could be all ominous and like you can't even fit him all on the camera because he's so huge, and he doesn't have to have like 2 eyes and a nose and everything else. They could make him look cool. But listen,
Wait, what?
hold on. But dress a guy up in silver and put him on a surfboard going through the cosmos. That's going to be cheesy. I'm sorry. You can't make that look cool.
They can look. I hope they make it look cool. Otherwise, I'm going to be upset. Dare I say furious?
Can they take away the surfboard of the Silver Surfer? Because
No.
without the surfboard, he'd look cool.
Then no, shut up.
I think
Who
they
the fuck are you?
I think they're going to make it more modern and make it, for the MTV generation, it can be the silver snowboarder.
Yeah,
I think
there we go. All right.
He has to have a surfboard, first and foremost. Shut your trap. Second of all, they don't have to show Galactus all the time. Like you said, you can see maybe parts of Galactus. It could be like a Hitchcock movie where you never really even see Galactus.
That's right.
But the Herald of Galactus comes, and you know shit's gonna hit the fan because the Silver Surfer's kicking ass, and he's like, I'm just a bitch compared to my boss who's gonna eat your fucking planet. Get your shit packed and hit the fucking road.
I can't argue with that kind of logic. Okay, but do we know, maybe this is a ridiculous question, but is Galactus supposed to be the main villain in this movie?
That's not a ridiculous question. Of course he is, Darren.
I would say, is he the main villain? Well, let's see. You got one character who's a planet eater.
There's a guy who shoplifts, but he's very good at it.
He tries to see how much he can steal before the planet gets eaten. Maybe.
Well, the planet's screwed anyway. Let's take care of something we can handle. This guy is shoplifting like crazy. The price of smokes is going through the roof.
Well, let's move on from the story of we'll talk more about the whole Fantastic Four thing as more and more details become available. Item number 4. This is one I've been wanting to talk about for a while. This is actually kind of interesting. Now, I'm actually a fan of the website Rotten Tomatoes. I really like the way, not for any of their articles or anything, but just the way they do their review averaging. They take they have 100 different critics. They take the average and present you with the average, and that's usually a pretty good indicator. Because if you ever just read 1 or 2 critics, you're never going to get a good idea, but you average out a couple of dozen, 50 critics, you're going to get a good idea. And I kind of like
last
to do
week
that.
I think you called it the best science ever made.
I'm pretty sure I didn't do that.
Maybe the water was in my ears from swimming.
You've never swam a day in your life.
I've done laps here and there.
If your boat sank, you would drown because it's too much hassle to
No,
do
because
otherwise.
the captain goes down with his fucking ship. And I'm a rugged sailor.
One way or the other, you gotta admit, taking an average or something gets you places.
It does.
Yeah.
Now, so Rotten Tomatoes put up their Golden Tomato Awards, and basically what it is the top critically acclaimed films of the year. Not the best films of the year, but what had the highest critic ratings, which I thought was pretty interesting. And they broke it into a whole bunch of different categories, but there were 2 main ones. The 2 main ones were films released in wide release and films released in limited release.
That's a good way to do it.
And then there were subcategories of all those, like best comedy, best family, best animation, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I took a look at the ratings for the top critically acclaimed films in wide release. And the results are actually kind of interesting. Now, granted, remember, Capote was only in limited release in 2005, so that's not on this list. So there are a couple films that were only limited. But here's the list. I found it kind of interesting.
All right.
The number 10 was Walk the Line, which I didn't like, actually. I'm not going to say I didn't like. I did like it, but overrated. Number 9, Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, which I really detested.
I really like Corpse Bride. I thought it was a A fantastic tale.
What's with that Freudian slip?
I had too much Brokeback today.
You're just gunning for that Oscar.
Yeah. I'm going to shut up. That was a pretty good burn. Tommy warmed my hands over the garbage can because I'm still burning after that one.
Number
Excellent.
8 was Cinderella Man with the 83% positive rating.
Excellent movie.
Yep. Number 7 was The 40-Year-Old Virgin,
That
which
was nice.
probably the best critically acclaimed comedy in a long, long time.
For sure.
But this is interesting. Number 6, beating out The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Cinderella Man, Timber, blah, blah, blah. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
That's bullshit.
Was the 6th highest critically acclaimed film in wide
I
release in
can't believe that.
2005.
How many people get payola to rank this good?
I thought it was a great film.
Yeah.
You know what's the best part about it? Digital Yoda.
Yeah.
No, Digital Yoda was cool. You know what though? I don't know
I
if
can't believe both you guys like
Yeah, listen.
Digital
No,
Yoda.
listen, dude. I don't know if I mentioned this on a previous roundtable, but I just rewatched that movie when I bought it on DVD about a week and a half ago, and I have to say I'm leaning more towards Doug's camp, having watched it on DVD, that it was as beautiful a movie as it was to see.
Yes. We've had this
I
discussion.
have a hard time. I have a hard time sitting through that movie again. A really hard time. In fact, I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
That's because you know how it ends. Still, it's interesting
I
to
can't
say.
believe all of a sudden I have a camp. I never wanted to be a leader.
To be fair, everybody knew how that movie was going
I
to
know.
end. Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. It's 6th highest critically acclaimed, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you're vindicated, John.
I am vindicated. Number 5, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with 83. My favorite Tim Burton movie up till now. I thought one of the very few of Tim Burton films I really like, which only set me up for bitter disappointment going in to see The Corpse Bride, which I thought really sucked. But I thought he did a great job with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
My favorite Tim Burton is Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Mine too.
Seriously.
I change.
Really?
I
Pee-wee?
change my thing. Yes,
But
back to
Charlie and
Pee-wee's Big
Chocolate Factory,
Adventure.
I saw that in an airplane, and I thought,
I thought he did a really good job with it. Actually, I was quite impressed, considering it was a Tim Burton film. Number 4 is King Kong, which I'm surprised. Well, you and I both thought it was kind of overrated.
meh. But it's understandable it's on the list.
But fun film. The last 2 hours were pretty exciting.
Meh.
Number 3, Batman Begins,
Excellent film.
which I'm very happy to see. And number 2, the 2nd highest critically rated, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
That was a wicked movie.
Wow.
Easily the best of the Harry Potter films.
It shows how many critics don't actually read books ever.
What? No, once again,
Their job isn't to read, Darren. Their
There
job
you
is to watch
go
the
again.
picture show.
There you go again. Oh, they don't read the books. Who cares? This isn't the book. I didn't pay $14 to go in and listen to somebody read me the book. I went in to see a motion picture independent of a book, and it was a great film.
I'm just saying, the world's going to hell because nobody reads books. we can keep watching movies
Whatever. It'll
too.
be fine once the Bible movie comes out.
But this one surprised me. Number 1 surprised me. Like,
Yes.
it really caught me out of left field.
Horace.
And it wasn't... to Horace. And it wasn't just like number 1 by 1%. It was number 1 by a mile. Like the number 2 Harry Potter was an 89%. Number 1's a 95%. Like by a mile, Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit
yeah.
was number 1.
Ugh.
What are you talking about? You didn't like it?
I didn't think it was bad, but I was like, same thing. I felt the same thing about Wallace and Gromit as I felt about King Kong, as I felt about what other movie I said there that was Charlie and Chocolate Factory. It was fine. I actually fell asleep for about 10 minutes in the middle of it. That's how enthralling it was. I liked the ending. The ending was my favorite. But I don't know.
Well, you liked...
I thought it was a fantastic movie. And when it comes to this list, especially with the way Rotten Tomatoes does it, it's either a good tomato or a bad tomato.
Right.
So even if you didn't absolutely love this movie, you can't say it's a bad movie. So I see where it got a lot of points.
Right.
Because
Well, you can say, I mean, it's
You
subjective,
could.
but I thought it was great.
Yeah, I would have a hard time seeing how anyone could hate this movie. Where with the others on the list, I can see maybe some people don't like it for X, Y, and Z.
I have a hard time seeing how it's number 1 on the list, though. Like this
And
wasn't
not just by little, by a mile.
because this isn't a movie that I'm looking forward to buying on DVD or necessarily watching again. I would like to
Back
watch
to the
Batman
DVD
Begins
conversation,
again.
it actually comes out I believe, next week.
Oh wow! Hey, can I ask a quick question? When does Narnia come out? Do you know?
I don't believe for a couple of months.
Because I'd actually like to buy that one, and it's not freaking on that list.
We'll look that up later.
Okay.
I don't know what's the word on the street with kids? Did kids really like Wallace and Gromit?
Maybe that's why it got such a high ranking, is because it had the wide appeal that a lot of those other movies didn't.
No, like Madagascar had wide appeal, Robots had wide appeal.
No, wide appeal plus quality for those who enjoyed that movie.
I think it was just a good... I think, personally, kids movie, not a kids movie, wide appeal, narrow appeal, it's a good film. And I thought there was very little to I mean, it's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I can't think of any big glaring flaws. I mean, you can be a flawless movie and yet not be perfect. And this movie is not perfect, but it might be flawless. I mean, there were none of the characters I disliked. I didn't think the voice acting was weak. I didn't think the story was weak. I didn't think the story itself was weak. This is almost a flawless film.
I didn't like seeing their teeth all the time. For me, that was a flaw.
I'll write a letter and see what we can do about that.
Please make smaller teeth.
And I thought the woman was kind of ugly. She had big lips.
You, of course, realize these were all like
Plasticine.
plasticine.
Why can't we have attractive-looking plasticine people? It works in Japanese anime. They're not plasticine, but it's
When
still
we're done,
not real.
I got the internet right here. I'm going to look up some counseling for you.
The Japanese also spend a lot of money on sex dolls.
How does that connect?
I have a few.
What Doug is saying is Japan is stupid.
No, I'm saying I'm Japanese.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next topic here. We'll just do two more quick ones here. The trailer, I didn't know it was this close to being ready to be released, but the trailer for Jack Black's new film, Nacho Libre, and for those of you who haven't heard about it, Nacho Libre is a guy in a monastery in Mexico who needs to fight to protect or for the rights or for something. I'm not sure what it is, but he's fighting for orphans in this orphanages. It's orphanage. And how does he fight for them? Well, he dons the mask and becomes a professional wrestling luchador.
That's a wicked idea. We need more movies like this in these troubled times.
And so the trailer came out, and the post, just go to the posts in for today, for Monday, February 6th, and you'll see the post in there, and there's a link to the trailer. We all watched it before we started recording. I loved the trailer. I am not a big Jack Black fan. I loved this trailer. I laughed an awful lot. And I thought you guys would both love it, but I wasn't sensing the same amount of enthusiasm as I had for it.
I like the toast.
The end part of the trailer with the toast had me in stitches.
I thought the very opening, when he's putting on the outfit and saying, Sanchi, sometimes when you are a man, you will put on stretchy pants for fun.
I think it will be very funny. I'm very excited because I'm not necessarily a huge Jack Black fan, but he totally won me over with School of Rock. He did such a good job in that movie.
Yes.
He really suited the role. And it's the writer from School of Rock
Yes.
who did this, which is huge, and the director from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
And I really like the
good
direction
too,
with
yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite. All the shots were killer. In Napoleon Dynamite, like the movie or not, all the shots are action-packed, and they have...
What is it? Action packed, but they're well framed.
Well, they are. It's almost a comic book.
Well, the shot selection,
sense.
tells the story in and of itself, going from shot to shot to shot. And yeah, it is well directed. Mm-hmm. It's well paced. The dialogue was done well. The pace of the movie was great. And he knows how to do comedy. I mean, he knows how to do comedy, and he's working with Jack Black. I thought Jack Black looked just hilarious in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And his
clenching.
accent.
The clenching looked good too.
Oh, yeah, there's this one
Yeah.
scene in the trailer where he says, do you like my new pants? And he's turned around so you see his ass. And somebody says, oh, they look expensive. And then he clenches his ass so the pants ride right up into his crack.
Yeah.
That he must have had
We have
all
such
muscle.
highbrow humor here.
It's either CG or that guy's ass is solid muscle.
His ass is rock solid, Darren.
You have first-hand evidence of this, I suppose.
One part I liked of the trailer was the training sequence with him and his partner, where they're whipping melons at each other's stomachs.
And the one guy, and he throws a beehive at the other guy.
I love training sequences in movies. I cannot get enough of them. Training sequences / forging of blades. I go bananas. Bananas.
Actually, that's true. I remember the first time I saw Kill Bill with you.
Yeah.
When the guy, the sword master, gave her the sword, you were almost in tears.
I almost cried.
It was when he said, when the guy said, "You can stay here. It will take me 1 month to make the sword." Doug actually reached over and grabbed my hand and squeezed it and said, "Hold me. This is a perfect."
Oh, and then
moment."
it was the part where he says, he hands the sword over and he says, "If you meet God, God will be cut."
Yeah.
You just wept.
That whole scene is the best scene in the entire Kill Bill
I agree.
extravaganza.
I agree.
And I know you really enjoyed in Kill Bill 2, the old Chinese guy whose name I forget.
Yeah, I like him too.
Yeah.
But the sword, the mastersmith, when he makes the sword, it says it'll take a month, and then he says, "I say without ego, this is the greatest sword I have ever made." Should you come across God, you will cut him.
Yeah. Doug had to change his pants after that scene.
In Kill Bill, I was going to write an article for the movie blog actually about the sword as a character, but I have no initiative, so it didn't happen. But in Kill Bill, in Conan the Barbarian, you have this where the sword takes on a character of itself. In this movie, what I'm hoping is the mask itself becomes a character.
In Nacho Libre?
Yeah, a symbol for freedom.
Now here's one thing
Right.
I'm wondering about is with all these people who were so outraged and upset and irate that in Memoirs of a Geisha that Chinese actresses played a Japanese part. I'm wondering if these same people are now going to be out picketing and crying and upset that an American, Jack Black, is playing a Mexican.
I'm furious. Placards are already being made in my apartment as we speak by Mexicans.
I don't know, John. That's a good question, though.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't have a clock in front of me, so I have
We've
no idea.
been doing it for some time.
Yes, so I think it's
Yeah.
about time that we wrap it up here.
I need a Coke refill.
Anything? I need a Coke refill too. I got an empty glass here.
Oh, dear.
Anything you guys want to add before we shut her down?
I think that Nacho Libre means free nacho.
It might be. Maybe we should go get some nachos. Let's do that. Let's go grab some nachos when we're done recording.
Free nachos.
Nachos are delicious.
We'll get some free nachos. We didn't get to Ultraviolet. We'll talk about that next time. We didn't get to talk about,
want to complain about that one.
the Katrina movie, the Hurricane Katrina. We'll get to that Wednesday. We'll talk about that stuff. Anyway, thank you for joining us here on the audio edition. Don't forget, we come back on Wednesday night. For those of you listening to this on Monday night, tomorrow, come back to the movie blog on Tuesday, February 7th, and we should have some video available for you. Why you'd want to watch it in video? I don't know. I'll leave that up to you to work for yourselves.
Yeah.
See hunky guys. Sandy is behind the camera saying, see hunky guys. So until next time, I'm the founder and the editor of the movie blog. My name is John Campia. For my co-hosts, Darren Conley and Doug Nagy.
Bye-bye.